So you've decided to go and have a look at a couple of the commercial properties that you've been considering on buying. This is what we call the inspection and selection stage. But what exactly is it that you should be looking for? Well, that's the topic of this week's video. G'day, I'm Peter Bender from Bundaberg Commercial, and from sun up to sundown each day, I help people buy and sell commercial properties and businesses. When you're looking at actually inspecting a property, the first thing I suggest to people is to look wide. Now, one thing, if you look wide on this screen, you'll actually notice I've got my cupboard open. It's actually deliberate. My cat has decided to be cranky and wanted to go and find a quiet place to sleep, so he's gone and hidden in my shirts. Let me know if you've got cats and dogs that do the same thing. And if I close the door, he's just going to get cranky and tear my shirts apart trying to get out. So if he pops out later, just say, "G'day, Patrick." All right, so when you look at what I mean by looking wide, sometimes people will look at a very narrow scheme of properties. It may have to be so many square feet. It may have to be made of this type of material. It needs to be in this particular location. It needs to be in that particular price range. It needs to have that particular color, that particular type of tenant, that type of zoning. There's quite a lot of things that they can have a look at. The problem with that is obvious. The more selection criteria you have a look at, the fewer options you're going to have available. And even worse, the fewer options that you look for are probably the high quality items that everybody else is already looking for. So it really is going to be a shark tank where everyone's trying to fight each other off to try and get a few select properties. What you're much better off doing is having a look at properties and say, could this actually fit into my criteria maybe under a different banner? For an example, it's not quite in property, but I have a lot of people looking for passive income. And they may look for a laundromat. That's fine. But have they also considered looking at a managed business? So both of those aspects will provide you with passive income. Slightly different banner, but I tell you what, there's a lot more managed businesses for sale than there are laundromats. And that's what I mean by being a little bit wide when you're looking for a search on commercial properties. Have a look at, is it really a must-have or a nice-have that's on your list? That way you can get more choice, and more choice gives you more options. And more options will give you a higher success rate chance. Right, so you've gone out and we understand looking wide. The first thing I do when I go to a commercial property is I look up. No, I don't say, "God help me." I do at times, but when I'm looking at a property, I want to look at the roof. I want to look at the structures. I want to see if there's been any new sheets put up there. I want to have a look if there's any holes in the roof that I can see. I want to see if there's any rust around the banners. That sort of type aspect. You want to have a look around the structure of the roof, particularly around joins and points where the ceiling will actually cover where the ceiling of the property reaches the walls, joins, that sort of type area. If you have a suspended ceiling and you can't see past it, try and get up into that area with a good torch, rather than sort of walk around up there. It's not a good look if you're walking around up there and fall through the roof. But instead, you can check out through the manhole cover, get yourself a big Arlec type battery-operated torch and see what you go. I've seen people go up in the roofs with just their mobile phone torch. So there's plenty of options available. But usually for particularly industrial properties, unless you've got mezzanine levels, you can usually see the roof straight up. All right, what's next? Okay, you've looked up, then I look down. No, we're not looking at hell. Just recognize that you're looking downwards and having a look at the foundations. If you've got a multi-level building, then be sure to have a look at both levels as you're going through the property inspection. So you're looking for cracks, you're looking for unevenness, you're looking for the type of flooring. Is it something that's cheaply put on there? Is it polished concrete? Polished concrete's great because you can see the cracks and the compression. Is there different types of flooring at different sections, maybe indicating that there's been a join, there's been repairs, there's been expansion. Once again, similar to roofs, it's the joins and the connections to other areas. Have a look at where pylons are meeting into the structure. Is the concrete giving way? Is there rust coming through? If it's a wooden feature, is it termite proof? Is it not termite proof? Is there gaps for vermin to get through? That sort of type aspect. And look inside and outside the building. So walk around the outside of the property, have a look at where the floor line is. Is it above ground? Is it below ground? Have they actually put gardens in place that have put mulch and the material above the floor line, or is it a good 6-8 inches to the ground level? If you have a commercial property that's got stumps, be it wood or be it steel, have a look at the quality and control of those uprights. They're holding the building. You want to make sure they're in good solid condition. Once again, have a look if you can, but if you can't, make sure you instruct your building and pest inspector, and I always recommend you get a building and pest inspection when you're buying a building, irrespective of anything. Just make sure you get it done. I always send them underneath the ground to have a look at it. I don't wear Armani shoes, but I still don't want them traipsing around underneath snakeskins and rats and everything else in the building. There are people out there who'll do that for money, so I'm happy for them to do that. And they're much better at looking for the things we need to know. I've seen some interesting floor inspections. They tend to be, after the roof, the main area of content for people. It's very difficult to change a structural foundation. So if you've got issues in there, water courses is another one to look for. Try and go to your property after a rainy day, see where the water's been going. Is it going around the building, through the building, under the building, nowhere near the building? That sort of type material is what you want to have a look at. All right, so we've looked up, we've looked down. Let's have a look left and right. So what I mean by left and right is the walls. Have a look at the walls. Are they plastered? Are they block? Are they concrete? Once again, you're looking for splits. You're looking for signs of movement from the foundation. It may not show on the slab floor, but you'll quite often find that if things are no longer square, that they're starting to show in cornices, starting to show around window frames. Do your windows all open and close easily? Doors are another one. If you've got doors that aren't closing and locking properly, it tends to indicate that either it hasn't been hung properly or you may have some movement in the property. Have a look inside cupboards as well. You'd be surprised what you can find in there. Sometimes it's a bit scary, but you're particularly looking for in the corners. If there's plumbing, have a look under the sinks, look in the cupboards. Is there rot? Has there been a water leak in there before? Has there been signs of plumbing work being done and repaired and replaced? Look at the fixtures and fittings. Water is a big issue that you want to have a look at. Hot water systems are another one. Solar systems is another one. How old are they? When were they last replaced? Everyone says, oh, recently you got solar. When you ask them how long it is, about 10, 12, 15 years ago. There's a big difference between something installed 10, 12 months ago compared to something that was installed 10 or 12 years ago. Time goes quite quickly, so people just forget what's going on. And when you go to inspections, don't be expecting to see a museum piece. We're talking commercial industrial properties. It's not like a house. They haven't had visual inspectors going through. They haven't had a big dress up, the likes when they put the magic shawls on the bed and the fluffed up 640 pillows. You're going to find something that's a hard working asset. You're going to find corners where there's been equipment just lying around for decades, depending how old the building is. This is normal stuff. So as an aside, if you're looking at a commercial or industrial property, make sure you wear some steel-cap boots, if not some proper PPE. It is dangerous out there, and particularly for novices, because someone who is a first-time buyer wouldn't know what's dangerous in a work site. They wouldn't know how to watch out for grease and oil. They're so busy looking up, because that's what Peter said, that they go whoopsie because they've slipped on something underneath. Make sure you've got yourself protected and covered. Don't be going around the building unless you've got someone with you, either a foreperson or the actual owner of the building, and just tell them the first responsibility they have for you is to make sure you get off site safely. You may have a register that you have to sign. Quite often, a lot of businesses will want to know how many people are on site. You have to sign in and have to sign out. Part of the legislative part. If you get that, then feel confident that the building or business that you're looking at is being run properly, particularly compliantly. Another area when you're looking left and right, a favourite of mine, we've done plumbing, is have a look at the electrics if you can. Open up the meter box. Sometimes properties will have multiple meter boxes, especially if they're across a couple of tidal blocks, or they maybe were originally one building and then converted over to two buildings. What you're looking for is like the age of the meters. Are they traditionally the old ones that spin around slowly or fast, depending on how much electricity you're using? or is it a digital one? Have a look at the fuses. You may find the old ceramic ones, which are about this big, and you pull them out and pull them in. They're like inserted fuses. Not a good look. Make sure there's something like a kill switch, a trip switch, which will go on and off. So when you're in the kitchen and the toaster just decides to die, or the kettle, it actually trips the switch rather than creates a big outburst elsewhere. The age of electrics is an aspect. One of the things I get in regional areas, surprisingly often, is the height of clearance of the power cable that comes from ergon onto the property. Over the years, and as you've had a lot of hot summers, that cable can quite often become a little bit saggy, also with the weight and just the temperature changes. And I've had a few times where I've got clients that are using buildings for maintaining or working on diesel vehicles and trucks, cranes, cement mixers. Suddenly they're getting close to the height of the actual power cable that's coming in. So that's one to have a look at. Once again, particularly for old places. Newer places are fine. Most of the power comes underground, and that's pretty bulletproof. But once again, in those instances, have a look at where the power cable comes from underground up to the box. So have a look at how that's getting in there, make sure it's taken care of properly. Look, if you don't know what you're looking for in electricity, get a sparky to go and have a look. Let them check some of the power points, let them check the light switches, let them check the lights is another thing to have a look at. Are they, a lot of them out? Are they new? Are they up to date? Fire exit signs is another one to have a look at. Are they, once again, are they on? Are they off? Are they out of date? Are they broken? Are they dusty? Does it look like they're taking care of it? Those type safety features to do with electricity. So if you're not very comfortable and aware of what you're doing, even just go around with your Sparky. Learn. I mean, it's all about understanding the building that you're going to buy. So have a look at those aspects. I'd say that's probably the main things. If you do that as well as getting a proper property inspection done, you should be okay. So like I said, look up, look down, look wide, and look left and right. Then you should be pretty well covered for 80-90% of what you need to know. All right, till next week. Take care and God bless.